Synthetic division is one of my favorites because you really don't have to use any of your variables. In long division, it gets a little confusing when you're dealing with exponents and variables and all that fun stuff. With synthetic division, you're just going to use coefficients. So we're going to set this up. Actually, let me cover a little bit of this up here. I don't want to spoil the fun. You're going to set this up, and we're going to draw a little box. Well, the number that goes in the box is the opposite of whatever you are dividing by. So you must use the opposite number. Notice how this says -4, you need to use a +4. Now the 1, 3, and -24, those are just the coefficients of your dividend. So you bring the 1 down, you bring the 3 down, bring the -24. So you bring down the coefficients. The next thing you have to do is you're actually going to bring down your first number. So you always bring down the first number. In order to get this 4 that is right here, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to simplify, or sorry, not simplify, you're going to multiply this, whatever's below the line here, by whatever's in the box. So you get 1 times a 4 gives you 4. We're going to add your 3 and your 4 together to give you a 7. So this 7 needs to be multiplied by the 4 that is in the box. That's going to give you a 28. You add those together, you end up getting a 4, and this ends up being your remainder, is what you get. So if 4 is our remainder, that must be rewritten similarly to how we wrote it as a, when we did long division. So you bring your coefficients down. Now your exponent here is always 1 less than what you started with. So we started with an x squared, but we really divided by an x to the first. So remember, if you take an x squared divided by an x, that just gives you an x. So we're going to get x to the first, 1x to the first, plus a 7. There's no x here because it goes 1, then 0. And then your remainder is rewritten here. So let's try this with our example. Example 5a. So we're going to take our number 8, -8, and we're actually going to put that into the box. You're going to bring your coefficients down. You have a 1, you have a -5, and you have a -24. So your first coefficient, no matter what the number is, always comes down. So bring down the 1, and you're going to have a 1 underneath the line. Now remember, anything that's below the line must be multiplied by whatever's in the box. We're going to take 1 times 8. That will give you an 8 right here. If you add -5 plus 8, that'll give you a 3. And now that 3 must be multiplied by 8 as well. 3 times 8 gives us a 24. And in this case, notice you don't have a remainder. It's a 0. So your answer, you have a 1 and a 3. This is going to be a 1k, is what you're going to get, plus 3. So you get a k plus 3 because this is a 1. You have your k to the first because that 1 is 1 less than what you started with, plus 3. That's a positive 3 because there's no negative sign. So then this ends up giving you your solution, k plus 3. Let's try that again with part B. And we're going to put together a -2 here, which means we're going to need a +2 in the box. And then we're going to bring down the 4, your -3, and your 6. So you bring down a 4, straight down. Doesn't matter if it's 1 or what it is. Bring down a 4, so you have a 4 here. That needs to be multiplied by what's in the box. So we're going to multiply by a 2, so that gives us an 8. Add those down, that gives you a 5. It's not in green, like I checked. Here we go. Here comes 5. A 5 needs to be multiplied by what's in the box, which is a 2. So you get a 10, and your remainder ends up being 16. So we have a 4, 1 less than that, so you're going to get a 4a. Plus 5, it's descending order, also known as standard form. Now your 16 is your remainder, so we write that as a 16 over, what do we divide by? Well, we divide by a minus 2. That is your division with synthetic division. Now, wasn't that much nicer than doing long division? Yes, I believe so too.